Anchored in Hope is a podcast that takes just a few moments to reflect on pop culture and what's making headlines in the news, and helping to bring a perspective of hope no matter where you are in life or what your situation is. We want to help women facing hard, life-changing decisions, along with men as well, to see how what's going on in the world can relate to their everyday lives, and how not to focus on it from a doom and gloom perspective, but through a lens that's anchored in hope for everyday life. What's Luigi got to do with it? Before I dive into this sensitive topic, let me start off by saying murder is wrong. And by the biblical definition, murder means the wrongful, illegal taking of an innocent human life. To take an innocent life illegally by biblical definition and then by definition of the law of the land is wrong. This podcast is not condoning what Luigi Mangione is being charged for by authorities, which is the killing of the former United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. We are reviewing how we can learn from the breakdown of this situation in a way that applies to our own daily lives through a lens of hope for the future. So let's take a deep but brief look at what it means to say all life has value. Your life, my life, Brian's life, Luigi's life, and yes, a preborn baby's life in a mother's womb. All these lives have value. And let's also briefly discuss how society will contradict itself in their actions versus what they say when it comes to the value of life. And then how we can take these lessons of contradiction and apply them to a hopeful future. Authorities have charged Luigi Mangione with the murder of the former CEO of United Healthcare. Authorities believe his reasoning for doing this was because of disparities and injustices he felt he and other Americans have experienced with United Healthcare and the overall healthcare system of America. The purpose of this episode, as we review Luigi's story, is not to put Luigi on trial, but to look at his story to review how our American society values human life. It is a tragedy that the family of Brian Thompson is now without a husband and a father. This event has caused many around our country to begin to vocalize their concerns with the legal system concerning our healthcare system. Ari Melber, host of The Beat on MSNBC, also stated that what happened to Brian was tragic and wrong, but it also raises questions about legal killings by healthcare companies in this country. He went on to talk about examples of this, such as Cigna. Cigna at one time had approved the liver transplant surgery of a 17-year-old girl who would die without the surgery. Doctors said she was a viable candidate, and after surgery, she would most likely go on to lead a healthy, normal life. At the last minute, Cigna, after already approving the surgery, denied the claim and said they would not be paying for the surgery simply because they changed their minds. Here's the clip of Ari Melber further explaining the details of this horrific, wrong, and unfortunate legal killing.
I want to be very clear, and a lot of people watching or living in America know this already, right? Although, Wendell, I don't know if you know, sometimes on the news we tell people things they already know. That's not the main issue here. The issue are situations where someone needs life-saving care. The doctors are ready to do it. And as you said, it's the Wall Street-driven corporation. So I want to read from an example you give, where you write that this helped you decide to leave. 2008, a 17-year-old leukemia patient in California had a scheduled liver transplant. And then it was, you write, postponed at the last minute when Cigna told her surgeons that the company, Cigna, would not pay. And then you explain how these things go down. Her family stirred up so much media attention that Cigna relented. But it was too late. She died a few hours after Cigna's change of heart. Tell us about that and what it reveals, that the company is, according to that story, literally trying to see what it can get away with, including a situation that might result in the loss of life that otherwise is savable. But if there's too much heat, they back down, which raises the question, why couldn't they have done the thing they're supposed to do, provide the health coverage to begin with?
Yeah, what these companies do is they know that most people take a denial as the final answer, and that most people will not fight that denial. They will not pursue an appeal that they're entitled to. In this case, Natalie Sarkeesian's family did. Cigna still said no, so the company became the family became a very squeaky wheel, and it became a huge PR nightmare for Cigna, and the company eventually relented. This happens all the time when a case becomes something that the media takes an interest in. The insurance company in question will usually relent and reverse that denial because they want that PR problem to go away. But they just are counting on people not knowing how to even appeal a decision, even if it's life-threatening. And also keep in mind that most people, when you're sick, you just don't have the energy and sometimes the ability to advocate for yourself. And it can be a very complicated procedure because these companies purposely make it very difficult. Only about 10% or fewer people actually appeal these denials. When they do, the majority are approved. So that just goes to show you that medically necessary care is being denied day in and day out. And often it's deadly, as it was for Natalie Sarkeesian. It happens every single day, and it's only occasionally that a story captures the media's attention.
This leaves the question of, if we can fully say that the death of Brian Thompson was tragic and wrong, and also see how the American healthcare industry tries to get away with legally killing innocent people through the system that they control, if we can say this is tragic and wrong, then why is there any question on the value of the life of a preborn baby in a mother's womb? If we don't justify might makes right in any of these other cases, why does this excuse fly for a preborn baby's life in their mother's womb? Every preborn baby who was facing an abortion would probably want what Brian Thompson or the 17-year-old female Cigna healthcare victim wanted. They would all more than likely want to live and not have their lives cut short. And is that too much to ask? Absolutely not. It's no less than you or I should expect for our lives. We should value our own life and everyone else's life as well. Brian Thompson's life has value. Luigi Mangione's life has value. The 17-year-old female Cigna healthcare victim's life has value. And if all their lives and so many others' lives are valuable and vulnerable, as a society, isn't it our duty to protect and defend the most innocent lives among us? The preborn baby in the womb of their mother? I once heard it said that a society can be defined by how it defends and protects the weakest among them. My hope is that we all would seek to be the defenders and protectors of the weakest among us, that being the preborn child and their mother, and help that mother learn about all her life options, not just for her preborn child, but for herself as well. At any given moment, the tables could turn, and any of us could become the weakest in the room. I think we all would hope that the strongest among us would do for us what we should already be doing for the weakest and most vulnerable among us. We would all hope that the strongest among us would protect any of us. If we found ourselves in weakened positions, this type of society would not only be defined well by these types of actions, but also find itself anchored in a hopeful future, ideally for all.